I don't remember the details of everything that happened in December 2021, but were you involved at all in the game prep for the game against SMU that never came off?
No, actually, I wasn't. I was around.
Yeah.
So I was here, and obviously, I think Bronco had agreed to coach the bowl game, and he allowed me to stay around up until a certain point. So I was just observing practice from a distance. Wasn't involved in any meetings. The only meetings that took place are just individual meetings that I had with Coach Mendenhall. And then there was a certain point that he didn't feel as comfortable with me around. So then that's when I took off and went home, and then got the call that the game was going to be canceled.
I was talking to another UVA head coach recently, and she said that, I guess, at a head coaches meeting when y'all were talking about ACC expansion, you said something along the lines of, don't sleep on SMU.
Yeah, I did.
They would be as good. They've been good across the board, but in football as they've turned out to be.
Right. So just watching it from afar, you would see that they were having success. And I know firsthand, Coach Morrison went down there, left Clemson when we were together to go to SMU. And I knew Coach Lashley and his background, his pedigree. And then also, too, we all know that they like football and have resources to be able to commit. And so that comment was more just kind of, prepping everybody to understand that SMU, even though it's moving up, right, there's a commitment to football within their program, and it's been there over the years. And now they have an opportunity, right, to level the playing field with everybody else. And I think you're seeing the byproduct of the investment that they've made in football.
After the game against Notre Dame, you said you were going to evaluate how Tony Musket did after watching film and kind of see what steps forward. How did you evaluate him and how his performance, and what are the kind of the steps forward?
So I thought he did a good job as he's done all year. He's prepared considering the circumstances. Each week he's owned the game plan and been ready to go. He gave us a spark. He found a way to help us move the ball and score some points. And just evaluating it, when you look at it, AC had a bad, really 3 minutes in the second quarter. Right, he had three throws. I know he wants back, all trying to make plays, and so just after evaluating it, did feel like obviously it opened up opportunity for Tony to have a chance to take a few more first team reps, and want to see how AC is gonna respond. And so far the week has gone well. They both have taken reps with the first team, and just been going about owning the game plan. If we were to play today, obviously AC would run out there first. I believe that, the week before he went up and won a road game, and made some big plays in a top 25 matchup. And he's put us in position to win a lot of football games. And, I think that yes, he wants 3 throws back, but I still think that he reserves the right to have an opportunity to show how he's going to respond. And so far, he's done a really good job with the things that we've asked him to do. And but also too, I think Tony has warranted more opportunity, to prepare himself and to go compete for the job. So we're still looking at everything throughout the course of the week. But up to this point, it's been good to see both of them go out and respond and do a good job getting the plan down.
So those guys have had a good relationship. Kind of throughout this whole thing over the last 2 years. How do you think that influences how they competed, how they've played, and how they support each other when there's only one quarterback spot?
I know it's tough because it's a quarterback position, and you try to manage them the same but a little bit different, right? Because their responsibilities are different than anybody else on the team, both on and off the field. But to see those guys, I think they made each other better. To be honest with you, their relationship has made each other better. It's helped them to improve in the areas, and that's what you need. You need somebody to make you better. And so I've just been really proud of the relationship that they've been able to establish and how they've been able to maintain it and block out the noise, and hopefully they'll continue to do that. Unfortunately, they're a lot like coaches in that they get a whole lot of credit when things go well, and they get all the blame, right? And so learning how to manage that is difficult. right? So you got to have a tight circle, and it's great that when you're able to have a tight circle with somebody else that understands firsthand what you're going through. So super proud of those guys, and I think that's what's allowed them to get to this point. And we're going to need, as I said from the beginning, we need both these quarterbacks, right, to be able to go win. And I believe in both of them. Because both of them have proven the ability to win football games for us. It's a delicate situation because it is the quarterback position, and generally you only have one guy in the game throughout the course of the game. It's also such a position about rhythm, and timing, and so that's part of the reason why we wanted Tony to get more first team reps working with the wideouts and the offensive line, because he's got to be ready, and if AC doesn't respond the right way, he's got to be ready to roll, and that's difficult if you're not getting the same the same, I guess, speed of practice. So just super proud of them, and I've learned a lot just watching those two, how it's supposed to be done. And I've said that from the beginning, and I'll continue to say that, and just encourage those guys to keep leaning on each other, because it's brought out the best in each one of them.
Not always the case, but Tony Musket has done a nice job of, it seems like, staying engaged,
Yeah.
staying ready, and being positive. How impressed, though, are you with his approach and how ready he is week in, week out?
Yeah, I mean, it's what you would wish every football player would have, just that approach to not necessarily focus on the circumstance, but focus on what you can control, and what you can control is your preparation. It's the attitude that you walk in the building with every single day. It's the attention to detail that you have in your meetings, and then it's also the investment away from the field to have yourself ready to play. And he's been a great leader for us, and even from a difficult position, right? As technically the backup quarterback, you might even feel like it's hard to lead from that position, but the way that he's gone about his business, it just, I mean, you can't help but notice and watch him, and I think it inspires other guys, and that's the key, and that's very difficult. And that was part of the message to the guys today is doing difficult creates natural separation, right? I got that from a video and shared that video with them, and that's why he's able to kind of separate himself, is because he's willing to do what's difficult, especially in a day and age where there's a lot of pressure to kind of take the easy route.
And with AC's interceptions, I'm thinking about the Maryland one where he's on the sideline, could have run out of bounds, tries to pop it over the top.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned this past weekend, but trying to make plays.
Yeah.
Is that the common theme, or are there other things you're seeing, commonality in interceptions?
Well, I think you got to look at each one, and I also saw after the Maryland game there were a couple instances where he didn't decide to throw the ball, and as we sit down and look at film, and in particular in the Pittsburgh game there was one where he's rolling to his right and one of the receivers pops open way downfield, and I asked him, well, why you didn't throw that ball? He said, Coach, I wanted to, but I was thinking about the situation, and so I ran out of bounds. All right, or I can't remember if he threw it away or ran out of bounds, but he didn't take that shot. And I think what happened in the game this past week is, we're 7-7. We finally get some good field position, and we're driving, and Kobe pops a 14-yard run and we fumble. Right, so we had an opportunity to go 7-7. Well, then that turns into 14-0. Right, and so then now you got a young man out there that say, I want to go make a play, for my team, and the first one, I know he probably wants that one back. He tried to force it, with the safety sitting, on the hash. The other one, he's trying to make that throw to X. Really, I'm jumping on X too. It's like, X, don't run back inside. When we coach our scramble drill, we get to the sideline, stay friendly with the quarterback, and we turn up. Don't go back inside to even entice him to throw that ball. That's probably the one there. And then the last one, again, we're in 2-minute situation. He's trying to force the ball down the field. So I think it was more of a situation of you had a young man, in a game that he wants to make an impact. The team is kind of, out of sorts a little bit, and he's trying to go make a play, right? So I think you look at each interception individually, but I saw progress, from the Maryland game, because we talked about that, and there were some instances where I saw the progress where he didn't, force the ball and threw it away or made the required play. That one with X, I think he was just pressing a little bit because he wanted to go make a play for his teammates, and you just got to stay disciplined. Right, and it's with every player, right? Because there's all across the board, right? When you look at the film, there's going to be situations where guys know exactly what they're supposed to do, right? It's just not quite like, and that's football. That's why it's so hard, because for 75, 80 plays, right? 7 seconds at a time. You just got to focus, and you got to focus completely on your job, your technique, your pad level, and sometimes, and that's why you have guys that make a play and don't make a play, right? Because that momentary lapse, right, and it's happening fast, and sometimes you make a decision that it feels right in the moment, and then once you're like out of the moment, you're like, yeah, that's probably not the right decision.
You obviously say you weren't around back in December 2021 when it was the announcement came out. What do you remember about kind of that game being canceled and kind of talking to players after that? After kind of having that postseason opportunity taken away.
Yeah. So don't remember a whole lot afterward, but I do remember the guys were practicing. Seemed like they were excited to get ready to go play, and then I think I went home. If I remember correctly, was it right after Christmas? Yeah. The game was right after Christmas, right? So I think I went home maybe on the 21st or something, and I was at home a couple of days with my family, and then essentially, got the call that, hey, the game's been canceled, the team's yours. And I was like, whoa, because I was planning on flying to, was it New York or Boston? Boston. I was planning on flying to Boston and just kind of being around, like in the background, just observing. That was the plan. And then it was like, okay, the team's yours. And so I was like, oh, I gotta accelerate the process because I thought I had about another, week and a half to kind of observe and make some more decisions. And then it was turned over to me. And we haven't really talked about it in detail as much as, we've just talked about how, man, it's time. It's time for us to get back to the postseason. We've missed out for too many years around here, and we need to make the floor the postseason, and then start building towards raising the ceiling. But haven't really talked in particular about the last matchup versus SMU.
A lot of injuries last game.
Yeah.
Any updates on Corey Thomas and then James Jackson?
Yeah, so I had to make some notes because I didn't want to forget them all. But James Jackson will be out. He was nursing a foot, and then gave us everything he had. And about 22 plays in, he just couldn't deal with the pain anymore. Robinson Cam will be probable still. He's been battling that shoulder all year, and we knew that it was going to be week to week. Corey Thomas will be out. This week, Hawthorne will be out. Lost both of those in the game to head injuries. Ja should be good to go. Trail will be back in practice. Yeah, he's been doing a lot of running and conditioning on the side. He should be back in practice tomorrow, but I don't think he'll be ready for this week. So I say Trail will be down for another week. And then, unfortunately, in practice today, Jaden Gibson went down with a hamstring, so I don't know what his status will be for this weekend.
You've been around a lot of quarterbacks in your career. When you have a quarterback who's having a slump like AC is, 7 interceptions in these last 3 games, what can you do as a coach to try to help him play his way out of that?
You just gotta help him, stay focused on his fundamentals. Keep encouraging him. Help him to just focus on taking ownership and what he can correct, and then you just got to keep playing. Right, I go back to 2016. D-Dub threw 17 interceptions in that season. There was a little rough spell, and I think the Trevor's sophomore year, kind of there was a little bit of a stretch. You got to keep playing and keep working. And the difference I think in this situation is the I guess the separation between those guys and the next guy was a lot larger than it is, right now. So this is a much closer, gap between, the two quarterbacks that we got. So also too, just keep on responding. Encourage him to block out the noise. Don't listen to anybody on the outside. Just go back to work and in the basics. Last thing you want to do is just scare him and have him fearful and indecisive. Right. I know we got 7. One of those, I felt like ball should have been caught. So there's always going to be a couple of situations where it's not necessarily, on him, but he's got to take ownership of the ones that he can control and go back to work and just keep playing ball and kind of like a baseball guy. You just got to swing yourself out of a slump, but don't let yourself go into a further slump by just over analyzing. Get enough critical analysis, and then go focus on what you can control, your fundamentals, and go play ball.
And SMU leads the league in rush defense.
Yeah.
What makes their front seven so good?
Yeah, they're very active. They're deep on their defensive line, so they roll in a lot of guys. They stay fresh. Their backers are athletic. They flow fast. They can change up structures on you if they need to, but they play gap sound and kind of get extra hats to the box to help to support it in their 8-man structure. They can have guys on the perimeter that can support it very quickly, but then also take away some of your run outlets. So they just do a good job. They're playing fast. They're playing physical. They're playing as a unit. They got good depth, and then they got a lot of speed too.
Yeah, this stretch you guys are in of playing ranked opponents kind of one week after the next.
Yeah.
What have you learned about your program so far? Again, the win over Pitt, lost to Clemson, lost to Notre Dame. What have you learned?
Well, I think what we've learned is one, the importance of depth and staying healthy, right? I think when we're healthy and we're at full strength, right, with our top tier guys, you saw us battle. Like you saw us hang for a while with Clemson, and then even we spotted Notre Dame 7 points from the jump, right? Really, if Cam doesn't have that personal foul, it's 3 points, right? So they held, and then defense had what? Was it 4 straight 3-and-outs? They had 4 straight 3-and-outs. And then offensively, if we could have got in rhythm, and then even with that, we got to put the chance to be second quarter 7-7, right? So when we're healthy, right, which is a note to us as coaches to make sure from a practice standpoint, right, and then also just everything involved in helping these guys' bodies at this stage of the game, right? We're in November, right, where it's hard for everybody, so we got to stay healthy. We can compete. Right, we just can't beat ourselves. Like we can't lose to Virginia, and that's something we've been talking about. And I think when you look at it, in those other Pitt, we were able to not lose to Virginia and find a way to win. Clemson, we're hanging in there, and then we start losing to Virginia. In my opinion, we give up a sack, we drop a snap. We have some plays that we can control that we don't make. Right, that obviously creates momentum for teams like Clemson and Notre Dame, and those are teams that they know how to capitalize on other people's mistakes, and that's what they're waiting on. They're waiting on you to make a mistake, and then they're going to pounce on you, right? And we've made our fair share of mistakes. So if we're healthy, right, and we're not losing to ourselves, man, we can go compete. And then big picture for the future, like we really gotta attack at developing our depth. Our depth right now is we feel we're encouraged by the guys that we had. They're just young, right, and they need experience. And unfortunately, the experience that they're being thrown into is, man, the game's moving really fast. When you're playing against teams like Clemson and Notre Dame, and then SMU with the speed that they have. Yeah.
Injuries are a part of the game.
Yeah.
Your team is not the only one that's banged up this time of year. Does the staff look either during the season or after the season, kind of go back and look at each one to see if any of these injuries could have been prevented, or if there are measures you could take to stay healthier? Because I know this was an issue last season too, late in the year.
Great question. And so what I shared with the team, the message kind of this week is obviously we want to be different, so we got to do different, and we got to finish, right? But also November is difficult because of the wear and tear on your body. And so I think the last bye week came at a good time. However, you're not going to have a bye week every week, right? So you're going to get back in the rhythm of playing. So we're analyzing all of our injuries now, from the sports med standpoint, from the strength and conditioning standpoint, from a nutrition standpoint. Also challenging the guys to make sure that they're staying committed to the things that they did early in the season, right? Life's picking up for them. You got the holidays, you got all this kind of stuff going on. Schools, in full swing. Man, they're coming towards the end of that too. So academics are picking up. Are they sleeping the way they're supposed to sleep? Are they continuing to eat? Are they hydrating the way they're supposed to hydrate? All of that matters. So we're looking at it now. The things that happen in the game, like that, those are, hard to prevent. But we do analyze each play to see, like, okay, fundamentally, especially with your head injuries, like what can we teach better, from a tackling standpoint, to make sure that when we do go out to practice, that we're teaching the proper fundamentals from from a strike and a tackle standpoint. But we're constantly, evaluating it. And in my experience, it seems like, kind of each year it's a different theme, So last year we had the patellas, right? So we had the patellas, and, this year it's kind of a mixture, but we've had more hips this year, right? And then we had, 2 ACLs, which we haven't had, in a while. And so we are evaluating, everything that we can, and we'll do another thorough deep dive, program wide once the season is over, to try and stay healthy. And one thing that I've learned too is once you get later in the season, we've cut back practices a little bit, just the amount of time to limit the exposure, spend more time, from a meeting standpoint as opposed to the actual physical repetitions on the field.
With, some of the injuries on the linebacker room, we're going to turn to, more inexperienced Landon Danlin, who is getting more reps now, and also Dorian Jones, who's more assimilated into the program. What have you seen from those two?
Yeah. So, Dorian was a guy that when we went after him in the portal, he had a ton of experience. It just took him a little bit of time to, conditioning wise, to get into the shape that we needed him to get into, and then an understanding of the system. And so, he's a guy that has a knack for the ball. Right, he's great in the box. He can diagnose plays quickly, and he can strike. So that's what you like about, and he's an experienced guy too. He's played football, so he can kind of make adjustments on the field. Whereas with Landon, everything's happening fast, right? And he wasn't. He was more of a safety offensive guy in high school, so a lot of this, and he was out last year with the shoulder too, so he missed a lot of reps. So everything is happening fast. But what you like about we call him Lando. What you like about Lando is he's athletic, he's fast. He's not afraid to strike. His body is starting to catch up. He's probably about 215 pounds now. He is playing with the cast on his hand, which limits him a little bit at the point of contact at times. But each rep you see him becoming more and more comfortable. So what you like is he's got a ton of upside, right? I think he's got the athleticism and the range that we're looking for at the position. He's just going to have to get baptized by fire, on the field and grow up pretty quickly come Saturday.
And 2 guys, then injuries for Terrell Jones and Blake Steen, are they okay to go?
Yeah, so TT's been practicing all week, so he should be good, and Blake should be back in practice tomorrow. So we anticipate that both of those guys will be good to go once we get to Saturday.
Coach, you mentioned that it's kind of a balancing act at that quarterback position.
Yeah.
How do you weigh the future of the program, the offseason next year, as opposed to what gives you the best chance to maybe win on a specific Saturday?
Yeah.
I'm thinking about, AC's mental kind of being.
Yeah, like to be honest with you, like the future really hasn't factored into the decisions that I've made this week. Really focusing on trying to figure out how to win Saturday for these seniors, right? And then find a way to go up to Blacksburg and win next week. And with the way college football is nowadays and the transfer portal and all of that, like you'll fry a bunch of brain cells trying to think about what it's going to look like in the future. I believe if I'm fair, right, and I'm just, in which I believe that the decision and how we proceeded this week is fair, based off of kind of the body of work and where we are. That's really been the focus. And then once the season is over, we'll focus more on the future, right? And I don't want AC to be thinking about, next year. I need him to, kind of get back going. And again, you can see how it's not far, right? Because, up at Pittsburgh, man, he made some plays. He made some plays, and the one interception, it hits the receiver in the hands, right? So that ball's got to be caught. The other one, man, it was a great play by that guy, but you know what? Now that we look at it, schematically, we probably could have helped him out, right? We brought the running back across the formation, which traveled a guy back across with him, that brought the linebacker into the throwing lane, right? And again, he's just trying to rip a ball, down the middle, and Malachi was open. Right. Other than he didn't see number 9 coming from the backside. So really, it's been focusing on the right now and not necessarily thinking about the future. And because heck, I don't know what the future is going to look like next year anyway. It's gonna change. but really just trying to do, what I believe is fair. And I did the same thing for Tony, in my opinion, last year, right? Because there was always we got AC right there. Well, if he misses a throw, put AC in. Like, it's kind of, I love my backup quarterback, just like everybody likes my backup quarterback, but I love my starter too. And I gotta be fair, and just. And what I believe is, okay, you had one quarter of football, but he's also, put us in position, to win games, right? We take the lead in the fourth quarter, versus Louisville with a chance to win it, with AC at quarterback. So, like, those are more the things that I'm factoring, when I'm looking at where we are right now. And then obviously the outcome of this game gives me more information, to make a decision, based off of how we move forward after this game. But right now I'm operating off of what I got, like, right in front of me.
Let me fry a couple more of your brain cells then.
All right.
I talked to Coach Pry before I came here
Yeah.
at Tech, and he said they use the open date to meet with some players that could have decisions in the offseason, thinking about NIL, thinking about the portal.
Yeah.
Is that something you have done? Any communication?
Not yet, but it's something that'll be, unfortunately, that's something that's going to be a part of this business model going forward, that you're going to have to have conversations. And there's going to be some tough conversations, right? Some really, really tough conversations that really haven't been a part of college football, all right, in the past. And man, it's going to be tough. And I don't know if everybody's really kind of processed that yet, right? Especially when what's projected to happen, if it happens. I mean, there's going to be some young men that haven't done anything wrong that are, no longer going to have an opportunity just because of potential roster numbers, right? Then you're also looking at guys that got potential to go to the NFL, where now they got to look at, do I play another year of college football from the financial standpoint, or do I go to the NFL? Like, so I didn't want to start too early, with the guys, because, man, we're trying to finish, right? We're trying to get to the postseason. That's the focus. And then I believe we'll have time, once the season is over, before those guys got to make decisions. But we are prepping to start having some more tough conversations, down within the next 3 weeks or so.
Yeah, just again with the quarterbacks, how late in the week do you feel comfortable making that decision? And I guess when do you kind of see that decision being?
Yeah, I mean, I feel comfortable going all the way up till game time, right? If need be, if it gets to that point. But like I said, as if we played today, right, based off the body of work, I believe that AC, deserves an opportunity to respond. Right, I think, and it's tough because we're talking about the quarterback position, but I think about the right guard position between Ty Furnish and Ugonna. Man, they split reps every single day in practice, and it kind of goes all the way up until game time. X Brown and Kobe split, first team reps in practice, and there's several other guys and several other positions, that I could call out. And so for me, it's let's finish the work week, right? We got tomorrow, we got Thursday, and then Friday is a prep day if we need to go. But right now, like I said, if we were to run out there, then right now AC would have an opportunity to go out there and show everybody how he can respond. Because again, and there ain't been many top 25 road wins, right? And he was coming off of that. He had about really 3 minutes of bad football right there in the end of the second quarter, which warranted Tony an opportunity to go in there and finish out the second half. But also too, I look at his body of work. He's put us in position to win a lot of football games. And unfortunately, we came up short in a couple, but we also have won a couple because of the position he put us in. So that's kind of where we are. And if that changes, then I'll be ready to make that decision at the end of the week.
Just thinking about your senior class, it's a senior day.
Yeah.
I'm wondering kind of what are your thoughts, feelings as you look at guys like Jonas and Malachi and Chico who were here when you got here and stuck through the coaching change, through the tragedy, and what do they mean to you as you look at your tenure here at UVA?
It's man, I'm extremely grateful, and I mentioned this to the staff that I know that I came in the door with, man, a big dream and a big vision. And I still have that big dream and that big vision, right? But also too, what I've learned is that the good Lord, he may have a different route to get to that vision than maybe what I had, but it's the right route, if that makes sense. And I think about those guys, and they had an opportunity, right? More than one to leave. And when those guys that you just mentioned have really helped us to solidify the culture that we got in place right now. And Jonas is been huge, right? Same with Chico and Ja, those guys that have been here the entire time. So regardless of what maybe the win-loss record is, man, these young men will always, man, have a special place in my heart just because of the character that they've exhibited and how they've helped me grow as a human being, and how they've helped this staff, grow, how they've helped us bring this team back together, right? To be able to work daily on turning that tragedy into triumph. So they're going to be a big part, and we wouldn't be where we are, right? Where we are currently, we wouldn't be here without those guys making the decision to stay and fight and battle for what they believe in. They believe in the University of Virginia. They believe in this athletic department. They believe in this community. They believe in this football program, and that says a lot. Right, that says a lot, especially with young people this day and age. That says a lot about who they are and what their character is.
What do you think it would mean to them, just talking, I know what they've said, but what do you think it would mean to them to reach a bowl game and hit that benchmark to start propelling the program even further?
Oh, man, I don't think they can even really put it into context right now, right? That'll be one of those, 5, 10, 15 years down the road, type of deals where they'll look back and say, man, I was really, a part of that, right? When all of the glory of football fades and you're an old man and you're reminiscing, like you'll see like the value that you have, and then what'll happen is you'll hear it from your teammates, because your teammates will express to you, just how grateful they were to you for what you established, and then they'll also be able to have a front row seat to see, all of the of maybe the things that they aspired to do, but somebody else is doing it, but they wouldn't be doing it without, their investment. And so those individuals will be standing on the shoulders of what I consider giants. Those guys will be giants within the program because they laid the foundation. So there's nobody that wants a win in Scott Stadium more than I do for them. Right, for this senior class. And it's not just, the high profile guys, right? So everyone's going to talk about the high profile guys, but man, you got a guy like Joe Holland, right? Like nobody's, mentioning Joe Holland today except for me, but Joe Holland is a big part of what we do, because we can't get better on the practice field without, Joe Holland. Right, and then Joe Holland's kind of got his signature on this building. He was working on the project that actually, with the contract crew that was actually building this building. So there's going to be a lot of those guys, and so it's going to be a special moment pregame. And man, I'm very, very eager and hopeful to be able to send those guys out the right way at the end of the game.